By the second Led Zeppelin album, we were playing together. So whatever year that came out, that's kind of
late
when
in
we
'69.
started.
Oh, who's there?
Terry,
Hey, Terry!
Good to see you.
What's up, Mr. Katz? How you, my brother?
Good, man. Good,
What
good,
are you
good.
doing? Oh,
Good, man.
good hanging in. Did that last time, too. Hey, what's up? I played with Rob since I've been 12 years old. I'm 76 now. You do the math.
Well, I think that
Yeah, I know, that's
the
great.
commonality would be, I think we're all true to ourselves. We're who the hell we are.
I'm not true to myself.
Well, that's who you are.
Now Rob loves to tell the story that he knows the day we met because we met in apprenticeship school. So when we met, you know, that was on the 5th of February, 1970. So I knew Rob before I knew Benny. Rob started to do these jams on Wednesday night jams, like every Wednesday night. I used to come from Flushing. And it's in the middle of the week. I come from Flushing to Long Beach,
As you know.
and go to work the next day after partying and hanging out.
It was a ground level apartment, and it had windows, and it was in a residential area, and it got loud, and police would come, and da da da. And then I remember I ended up playing on towels
Oh, I don't remember.
to try to muffle the sound.
I mean, we probably did it till when? Till like
The
probably
Kingdom Come.
till I went to Oregon. I went to Oregon in 1993.
And then Rob would have these tremendous Labor Day parties, right?
Oh man.
Oh, forget it.
He had these Labor Day parties with his whole family, and we would jam. I would make up songs on the spot, like this. I would get so like
You know, that's
I
who
would,
you are.
yeah, I would get so like inspired.
The best rhythm player in the crew.
Yeah, he's an unusual rhythm player. Right?
You know, I always remember.
You know, speaking in all seriousness, he creates a lot of space.
I got the word.
Yeah, he does. He really does. He's like, boop.
I have no idea. You need to know what to do with all this space, and many people are uncomfortable with space.
I think it is really tricky to like have no offense to you, but be quiet sometimes. You know, like sort of like slow down a little bit. because I was breaking.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
You know,
You can't fill up all the space all the time.
Just because we have this incredible improvisation doesn't mean that we don't have our critics. So,
Come here to communicate, and music is the ultimate truth. There's no lying. Everybody throws ideas out, and we try to. It's a conversation. It's like common ground, and we don't know what's going to happen. That's the joy in it. Is that there's no pre-planning. It's just we don't even call out keys. We don't call out songs. Somehow, and it's serendipity when we find like something that really works, just out of thin air.
Spontaneous composition.
Yeah.
And that's what we do.
Yes, we do.
We don't do spontaneous composition.
Right. It's a little bit like being a trapeze artist, and you let go, and you're spinning in the air, and you're saying, okay, I'm gonna latch on to this, and it's just great when it happens musically.
Absolutely. That's as much fun as I've ever had.
food.
The camaraderie, the love of music.
And other things.
Being able to still self-express yourself as a senior, and I think it's a lot of fun.